It's October the 12th. Sorry, October. It's August the 12th, 2026, and you know why you're here. So let's kick this off right and introduce the players. Hey, I'm Jarisar, and I can't speak tonight.
Hey guys, it's Big Ran, and I can speak, and I'll let you know that I am now a Warlock main.
What?
And hey, I'm Tristan Jake, an expert baker, according to very specific family members who I did not have to pay to stay up. And Warlock, this is pretty crazy.
Yeah, you know, my experiment last season with one button BM has made me rethink my approach to WoW. I think I'll play classes that are slightly harder, and I think Warlock fits that description.
Which spec are you playing? Demo?
No, oh gosh, hell no! I'm playing Destro.
Oh, I thought you said you wanted. I thought he was going to try something hard. Demo's not easy.
No, yeah, it's. I've always liked Destro. You know, I've liked playing these specs that feel scary, and I feel Destro is like the ultimate scary spec.
I will say Destro is scary because when those bolts line up, ouch. They delete health bars. So, okay. Well, hey, welcome to... It's kind of funny, actually, considering I always considered myself a Warlock main, and now I'm really enjoying Demon Hunter, and now you've moved over to Warlock. That's kind of funny, actually.
Swings and roundabouts.
It is. Are you still going to one button it, or are you going to actually...
Oh, no. I think Destro is one of those specs that's probably really bad for the one button.
I had to ask. Well, hey guys, so season 1 just ended. Did you guys reach your goals? What were your goals, and did you reach them? Jake.
Yeah, I did. I actually all I wanted to really do was hit elite, get legend, and I got that. And I'm pretty happy with where I got. Like I pushed sort of like 2.6, I think, in shuffle. That's kind of where my goal was, to kind of just to get a bit higher, and managed to achieve it. Had a bit of fun in threes. Didn't go for the gladiator in the end, just because timing wise, just didn't work out. But I think there's always next season, and I'll try and figure out what I want to play and what will work best, and go from there.
Yeah, no, fair. I will say the mount this season 2 is looking pretty sweet. It's a little green, but it's pretty sweet looking. So definitely worth it, I think, for people if they want to try and push there.
Yeah, agreed. I think it does look good.
Yeah. How about you, Big? What was your goal, and did you make it? Did you reach it?
I didn't really have any specific goals. I got pretty decently high on my rogue, my one button hunter, and then my Resto Druid. I kind of wish I would have played Resto Druid more. I think I could have pushed a lot higher, but I just started playing Resto late into the season and kind of ran out of time. But I mean, yeah, I'd say I hit my goals. This is one season where I played every single role: melee caster, well, BM caster, and healer. I played a mage as well, so got to kind of experience the game from different perspectives, which I think is always nice. And yeah, I'm excited for season 2.
All right, I'm excited for season 2 as well. So my goal, first I went into solo shuffle to see how well I could do on Devour, and then I found that it was disgusting. So thanks, Ox. So then I made it to 1800. I was like, why don't I go for the weapons illusion? So then I climbed up and got that, and then I actually pushed just over 2K, and I was happy with that. So I stopped there. I probably could have gotten to 21 if I really wanted to, but I felt that I was happy. So now I have the now I can put swirly blue balls around my weapons and make them sparkly.
BK, that wording was but
what?
Yes,
that's what it is. It's swirly blue balls, right? Void balls.
Yeah, boy, okay, there you go. Anyway, sorry.
And a 12-year-old boy somewhere is giggling. That's fine. Anyways.
Is his name Big Morale?
Yeah.
I wasn't going to give it a name, but just before we start into the actual rest of the conversation, everybody, I want to remind, if you aren't following us on socials, you probably missed the announcement, or if you're not in our Discord, you definitely missed it, but we're hosting a giveaway. We have a mount that Blizzard gave a bunch of WoW creators. So if you follow anybody, you'll see that, but we're giving away over on our Discord server for the Stoneforge Sentinel mount. And that's the one you can actually customize as well. So if you head on over to our Discord and go to the giveaways, you react with the bot there and get your name in for the draw. Draw is going to happen on the 18th. So get over there and don't miss out. All right. Subject analysis. So obviously we talked about 12.1, it dropped. And then this mount that we're giving away, I think, what do you guys want to do then? Like, because right now it's kind of a lull. You notice that? Like, there's not been.
Sure, for sure. I think you've kind of hit that exactly correct, Gareth. I think a lull is kind of expected when I think it's just been so tense in general. I think throughout the PvP scene, I think there's been so much to do with win traders, but there's been so much to do with just general displeasure at balancing and just how the game feels. I think I saw a tweet the other day which was talking about how it's a better target to go on a warrior and train a warrior than it is to train a frost mage. And I think that's kind of telling on the state of the game and just how it feels. I think most people would kind of agree that actually it just shouldn't be the case that you're kind of forced to go on a non-ranged character because they are just either too tanky or just sort of uncatchable. Really, they either can tank too much damage or you just can never catch up with them. And I think that design really just kind of goes to show that these reworks that they do to each class, probably makes them really fun in PvE, but completely and totally screws the PvP scene.
Yeah, I saw that tweet as well, and I had to laugh because for the immersion of the game and the whole RP that is supposed to be an RPG, it seems ridiculous that it makes more sense to attack a character fully covered in plate armor and is beating on you with swords. That's an easier target than a magic wielder in a cloth robe. It kind of seems weird. But you're not wrong. It's a little crazy. I don't know. I feel like with the 12.1 just dropped, but there's no vendors, right? Like there's no honor vendors, so there's nothing to spend our honor on. So I'm guessing
weird, right? Because there used to be, I swear you could buy gear in this preseason period before. I don't know why that's suddenly different. Actually, maybe I do know why. When I was on the, so I recently have been updating all of the gearing guides for season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some weird conquest weapons that were like in the game, and I didn't really quite understand why. Maybe there's been these weapons before, but there were two-handed pole arms. I think it was a two-handed something, mace something with intellect on it, and it didn't have that thing where it like converts to strength. It was just intellect. I was like, is this for like holy pallies if they don't want to wear like a shield? It didn't make any sense. And then there are some weapons that I swear were missing from like the vendors. So maybe they forgot to put in some gear or something, and they're just doing that's why there's no vendors right now, because literally some gear might be missing, which wouldn't surprise me. But I was like, yeah, it's kind of weird timing.
It is. So I remember last expansion during the War Within, and even before that during Dragonflight, we always carried over honor. Everybody would max out their honor, and then in this little preseason period, you'd be able to go and buy a bunch of honor gear. And it was really fun because then all the unrated stuff was really, really busy. Like it was, all the queues were popping pretty good. But it seems like this time, because in season 1, they didn't have honor gear ready, right? So that didn't show, the PvP vendors didn't show up until late, if I remember correctly, or maybe they got hot fixed in because like, oops. But by that time, it was like 3 days left before the season started. And then, so this time I'm not surprised, but yeah, it seems kind of weird now if they don't have honor gear vendors available. Then next Tuesday at reset, suddenly everybody's going to be PvPing. Like, why would you even replace? I guess season 1 will just be super busy then, because everybody will hop in, they'll cap out their conquest, they'll get their tokens to make some crafted gear, get those few pieces, and then just grind out honor to replace all their conquest gear. So at least then they're just wearing blues until they can replace that with conquest gear, I guess.
That sounds about right. And one thing, speaking of the patch, I think we should talk a little bit about the patch, because this is going to be very important for everyone. This season, when you convert any conquest piece into the tier piece, it preserves the stats of that conquest piece.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be very important. You know, in previous seasons, you could just buy whatever helmet, shoulders, chest, legs, gloves you wanted and convert them. And, you know, those are you got some PvE stats. But now, since they copy over the stats from the conquest pieces, it's going to be really important for you to just buy the correct pieces. So that's just a little bit of information that people should know about the gearing process. But yeah, next week we're for sure going to just be farming honor, replacing all of our existing conquest gear with the 331 item level honor gear, and then just doing those week 1 tasks, which will include, you know, crafting the free pieces that you get from the heraldry quest. So it's pretty much business as usual, but the biggest change is that conversion change.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That is important. I think so. This is going to be interesting then, because we're going to have the ability to keep the same stats and cross over, but I feel like people are more aware of the lacquer is also available. So if people are going to be pushing rating in week 1, and come away with some pretty high PvE gear, then you think they might actually lacquer that to give it a PvP item level scaling?
So there's a thread on Reddit about this. I mean, that's definitely an option. So you can catalyze a lot of gear, and I didn't know this. I thought the catalyst was just for like PvP gear, but I'm naive, I guess. It's for like you know how there's those different tracks of gear. I think there's one called like a veteran track. You can catalyze gear on that track into tier pieces. So in theory, yeah, you could go do. It doesn't even have to be a raid. It could be like a mythic dungeon. Get a piece that is like part of that veteran track. Catalyze that, and then use the lacquer to change that catalyst piece into PvP item level. And that way, you could potentially get more optimal stats. I mean, it's a whole process to just get, you know, a few points of min-maxing. So I personally not going to do it, but I definitely think it is an option for some people.
Yeah. I don't know if somebody's going to catalyze gear for tier set and then lacquer it, because I find that unless you like are going for some crazy haste crit build or something like that, but I find that the lack of versatility and the lower stamina weighting on PvE gear is kind of deadly there. I could see it if it's going to be, if you have like, let's say you're going like a full mastery build and there happens to be a piece that has like some crazy amounts of mastery and you're okay because you have enough versatility on other stuff, then maybe. But I could definitely see like if somebody has mythic track, then like, yeah, why wouldn't you, right?
Right. Yeah.
But it's going to be this. I think this season has a lot of gearing options, which is going to be I think that's going to be the real part that shows who knows the game well and who doesn't, and who's just copying. or who's just following for the typical, right? But get your 3 pieces of crafted jewelry, get your first piece of conquest gear, and then wait until you cap out to get your I think what's it, week 4 we're gonna get our weapons again. So 4 or 5. Yeah.
Something like that.
Anyway. I think the other thing though, and we've talked about it before, but with the trinket bonus change, and then the change to the crowd control DR now being 20 seconds. I went Theorycraft for a second, actually, and I'm going to go to Jake here because I talked a lot.
Yes.
Do you think RMP is still going to be S tier, or do you think we're going to see a new comp? And what comp do you think that's going to be?
I think this is one of the hardest questions to answer, I think, because you can try and analyze as much as you like, but so many things change at the beginning of the season. Where we see things tend to peter out is at the end, because not much happens, because obviously Blizzard are fully focused on creating the next patch or the next game or whatever. So in my mind, I think what will happen is I will think the strongest ones from last patch will remain the same. I know that there's been a lot of changes, so if you haven't checked out those patch notes, please do go check them out. I don't know if we'll have them in the show notes. I assume so, but if check out the patch notes and just see what's changed between your spec and your class since last patch. But I think, from my opinion, I still think that mages are going to be strong. I still think Devourer is still going to be strong from what I can tell. And I think there will likely be some form of RMP that will work very, very well, RMX of a kind. But I actually also think that we'll see a rise of Hunter comps too. I think Cupid and I think Jungle are going to be strong too, because throughout the last couple expansions, you just see like Rogue, Mage, Hunters are really, really strong. And if they don't change Rets, they're just going to get enabled. So that is my opinion on that.
All right. See, I'm not sure. I see Mage staying strong, but I'm not sure if Rogue is still going to stay as strong with the changes to the 20 seconds now instead of 16, right?
Yes. Well, this is the thing. We also thought that was the case last time, but it just turned out to be the opposite. So I'm not going to believe it until I see it in person, or rather, see it in game. And I think that's the kind of thing that I think we need to expect, is that we genuinely thought that they were going to be seriously nerfed before, and they weren't. So, in my opinion, I think just wait and see how things go, and if they are nerfed, I think they will still enable other classes. And I think that's the big thing, is there are certain classes in the game or certain specs in the game that just enable others. So that mages really come into their own when they never have to worry about targets perpetually on them, when you've got a rogue that can slow them, a rogue can stun them. So yeah, the DRs are going to be higher this time, so they're not going to be able to lock them down as much. But I still think they'll be strong, and that's just always the case.
Fair. What about you, Big? This is something you always do.
Theorycraft was going to be good. I mean, I don't think Rogue Mage is going to be bad. I don't think this change is going to affect Outlaw and Assassination as much as it affects Sub-Rogue. So, if there's one thing we've learned from tournaments, is that usually Outlaw is the rogue spec that people play. And Kidney Shot is still a 30-second cooldown. DRs are 20 seconds. Do the math. And one of those numbers is bigger than the other. And so Kidney Shot isn't really affected by the change as much. Outlaw and Ass are going to be fine. Sub is going to be a bit slower, but they gave Sub some more damage this patch with a new ability called Gormaz. One complaint that I've seen so far with the pacing of the game is that the game does feel noticeably slower. So Blizzard did buff health pools by around 20% this patch, and they also nerfed a lot of burst. They kind of shifted a lot of damage from burst to sustained damage for certain specs. So in theory, we're gonna have a slower meta. And ironically, mages and rogues do well in slower metas. They're very good dampening specs or dampening classes. So I'd expect that comp to adapt. As far as what else might be good, I think Wrestler Druid has the potential to look to be really good in solo shuffle at least. And apparently Holy Pally is really broken right now. They just buffed its healing like crazy. So you know, it's again, it's as Jake mentioned, it's kind of hard to predict exactly what's going to happen, especially since these first few weeks are always really volatile. And so yeah, I mean, it's all up in the air, but I wouldn't expect Rogue Mage to go away at all.
All right. Yeah, you're not. I guess you guys aren't wrong. Rogue Mage never goes away, does it? It just changes slightly. It's either, you know, if it's not Frost, then it's Fire. If it's not Sub, it's Outlaw or Assass. So, yeah, I don't know. I did hear that the pacing is really slow right now as well. I feel like that's because, again, like between the stamina changes, the trinket changes, and then just probably the power of some of the healers until tier comes back in and everything like that. I do hope we do see a little bit of the shift in the meta though. Just that, like, if it's going to be RMP, what's going to be the paper and the rock against RMP, like we talked about before. And you're not wrong. Time will tell. I know they did some PvP tuning before the PTR closed and before they made the final print for this patch, but I am expecting there to be more PvP tuning in these next couple weeks. I'm wondering, because, well, really, like it's August, like we're a month away from BlizzCon.
Yeah.
So. Like, holy crap, I can't believe that. Yeah, less than a month away from BlizzCon, right? So right now I can only imagine those players that are going to BlizzCon are probably just going nuts right now trying to test everything. And if Blizzard starts making too many changes, then they're probably going to start having a big issue trying to prepare for that tournament. So what do you think we're going to see? What, maybe tuning this week, and then are they going to stop it until BlizzCon just because they don't want to pull the rug out from underneath the players' feet, if you will?
I would guess that 2 weeks before BlizzCon, or at least 1 week before BlizzCon, we're not going to see any tuning. Mm-hmm. Probably we'll see tuning this week, and then next week, and then the week after, and then that's probably it until after the event is over. Yeah. I mean, to me, that kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm kind of thinking the same thing. I definitely don't expect to see, unless like something super broken. But because Race to World First, you know how much Blizzard likes to watch that and help support it. So I feel that they won't be changing too much on the PvE side until after that's done as well. And then that rolls right into BlizzCon. So again, if you have like the MDI challenges and all the other stuff, so we won't see, like, yeah, we'll see probably, like I said, maybe 2 weeks of tuning, then a pause until after BlizzCon, and then we'll see some more. This is going to be a really interesting patch.
I always think it's crazy that they do it like this. To be honest, I always find it really strange because you're just trying to figure out like what's going on, and then suddenly out of nowhere you're playing on high stakes on a patch that you just don't know. I think it kind of just goes to show the quality of the players that we have that play, that are able to adapt in the way that they do.
Oh, 100%. Plus you'll be able to see the players that really have big support behind them as well, right?
Yes. So exactly.
Like the 3 college kids, like they'll probably be able to figure some stuff out, but the ones that have like these big organizations behind them that are also figuring a bunch of stuff for them is going to be something else. I feel like, so here, I want to throw this one out here. So, if anybody noticed, I saw this over on in a couple different spots on socials than that. I have not played anything this week yet in PvP, but on top of things being slower, and I'm big, you said you played a little bit already this in the new patch. I heard that the inflation got zeroized, and so people are actually losing rating when they're winning in solo shuffle and that. Did you experience that at all?
Yeah, I think they've done a soft MMR reset.
Yeah,
because I have it still in my arena coach, which records all your games automatically. I have an arena coach recording on my warlock from the last day of the season, and I was like 2300 MMR in shuffle. I queued a shuffle today or yesterday, and I was 2k MMR. So they've definitely squished it a little bit. I wouldn't say they've reset it, but they've done a little bit of squishing so that people aren't instantly 3k at the beginning of next season.
Well, so that kind of doesn't make sense though, because the season hasn't started. You'd think they would zeroize it next reset, right? So
Yeah, but I mean they're unranked games anyway, so it's like, well, I mean they're ranked, but they don't count. So I think maybe they just want to squish everything so people get faster queues. Maybe that's, if I had to guess, that's maybe their intention. But you know, I don't know exactly.
That kind of makes sense. I didn't think about that. I just thought like when I heard somebody had won, they went like 5-1 and they lost 44 CR. I was like, how does that feel good? So, what do you think? What would you think if they didn't remove the inflation? If they just let it ride? What do you guys think?
I think, to be honest with you, it'd probably be better for the game. I think, look at the amount of, I guess, people that actually played the game when there was inflation, when everything was there, when they were able to do it. And I think it just kind of goes to show just how good the game felt to be able to do that. So I think they should do it, really, in my opinion. But I think it is sadly unlikely at this point. But man can dream.
We can always dream.
Exactly.
I guess there's two ways to it. Like I can only imagine how giga inflated the patches we get or the seasons would get over a whole expansion. But I don't know. I do think there's always that risk where people end a season and they've hit their personal best. They're 2200, 2600, like whatever they end up reaching, like 3100, whatever, right? And then the next season they start back at 0 and they start the climb again. And it all depends on what the inflation is. Like they might not even get anywhere close to that, and then they'll feel bad because how can you ever get better in your mind and beat that number if it's all based on everybody else playing and how much inflation is put into the ladder. So I guess at least that way, if they kept it in, then at least you would know you're improving or feel like you're improving to the last time, your last personal best. I don't know. This is an argument we have over in Discord. A conversation we have over in our Discord regularly about removing the number and just giving the title, diamond, gold, platinum, whatever, right? Using the same thing they have over at like Overwatch or any other game really that doesn't have just a flat number. But I feel like if they did that, they would have to be there would definitely be the shock factor, the change factor there, where players are trying to figure out how to translate that to what they were before to what they are now. I think that's always a risk.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. I think it's I think people just need to have a try and see what happens. I think at the end of the day, it's one of those sort of things where we'll figure out as time goes along, and that's the thing I really like about WoW PvP is that it can be so dynamic, but sometimes I get a little bit sad, and I think everyone else gets a little bit sad. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of just the way it is.
Well, I feel like with the current system, actually with any system that whatever they implement, there'll be the comparing yourself to what you were before, but inherently you end up going back to the ladder and taking a look at who's around you and trying to beat that other person. And that can be unhealthy competition depending on how what the person's mentality is towards that. And that, because just trying to beat that other person to do better than that other person can sometimes be a healthy competition. But if somebody has some toxic behavior or toxic traits, then that can get quite gross. And then there's some people where they start to resort to methods outside of the game to beat that other person, because they'll do anything to beat somebody rather than just playing the game as best as they can. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
That's hard. So what are your plans for season 2?
I guess my plans at the minute, I think my plans in particular is I'm going to focus on playing my Windwalker. I think that was so obviously as everyone will know, me and Orcs are the people that queue together. He's my arena partner. We play together the most and have done really since Shadowlands season 3. And I think our best comp last season was Windwalker Devourer. I think it worked best, just big burst windows. I think I'll likely play my Windwalker again, and we'll try Windwalker Devo and see what happens. But there's a part of me that wants to try other things, but I just genuinely think that at the minute, the best thing to do is have a spec that's got some sort of healing reduction, big damage, and abilities to survive and kite, which thankfully Monk does. Or you play something like a warrior where you've got considerable amount of pressure and just a lot of damage. So at the minute, it's going to be that. I'm going to kind of just focus on playing my Monk, I think, and and then queue up some threes and try and get Legend again in Solo Shuffle. I think that's kind of my aim.
All right. Devourer's taken a bit of a hit, though. Are they? Is the burst window still going to be there, you think?
Orc seems confident, to be honest. Okay. So I don't feel out of my depth to say that I feel like it's going to be fine, but we shall see.
We shall see. It always keeps coming back to that.
Yeah, you'll never know, but we'll figure it out at some point.
Indeed. What about you, Big? What are your goals?
I think I want to play more specs this season. So Warlock is something new that I'll be playing. Then I think I also want to level maybe my Warrior, play some Warrior. I was even, believe it or not, thinking about playing Ret Paladin. But that would be an interesting experiment. So yeah, I just want to play more things overall. Okay. More alts. I think playing alts is something I should have been doing more of this whole time.
So I've heard different things about that. Yes, you learn all the different classes, but then you become the master of nothing, right? And I've heard a number of people say that if you really want to do great in arena and climb, or really PvP to begin with, is have multiple alts of the same spec, and then just switch back and forth as you climb up the ladder. And then that way you have one that you can play with your friends if, let's say, you care a little bit less about that rating, right? If you can just play with anybody and not worry about tanking it. So it's interesting that you want to like just go full altaholic and just try to play one of everything.
Yeah, I mean, my goal isn't to like be rank 1 or anything. I just want to have fun. My number one goal is to have fun in WoW, and that's how I have fun. And I was really inspired by the fact that, Vendruki and Supatis had this little battle of number 1 alt player on the ladder. So Supatis ended the season as the number 1 altaholic. And I think that'd be fun to be high on that leaderboard. Just, be a master of none. Screw it.
Why not? All right. I forgot
Be
about
the
that
ultimate.
little competition.
The ultimate master of none. So you're so good that are you really the master of none? Maybe you become the master of all.
That's right.
Oh man, this is like Inception. My brain started to explode, guys.
Honestly. And then on top of it, Big is going to be coming out with the sickest rap possible. Just to compete against Super T's.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I'd love to see an epic rap battle between Big and Supa. I think that'd be awesome. Do you think
really
you'd be
funny.
down with that? Big?
I would be down, and I'm sure he would be down too. Maybe we can have that battle at BlizzCon. We're both going to be at BlizzCon, and so that might be fierce.
That would be awesome. I can see the TikTok now. Oh my gosh. Well, I will say, I think for myself, I'm definitely going to pick up and continue with the Devourer. I don't know if I'm going to have time to really alt out around or do anything else because I've signed back up with my guild's raid team. So that's going to require, at least for the first few weeks, the first however many weeks until we achieve the goals of the raid team, which is usually like cutting edge heroic into mythic. So we'll see how that goes. But sorry, I was chat saying the Super won because Ven refused to play tank, apparently.
Ooh. Drama.
Yeah.
Closed.
How
I would say in that case, Venruki was actually the number one alcoholic. Tanks are dishonorable, and I said it. So I agree.
So I was playing during the last few weeks, and I played a game in RSS. And so get this straight, I'm in solo shuffle. I'm playing a Devour Demon Hunter that everybody hated, and yet the healers were letting the tanks die because they would rather let that person die just out of pure spite of them being a tank in the shuffle than to either let me die. The Devourer.
Yeah, it's the age old conversation. Like, what should the role of tanks be in PvP? And prot paladins are, I think, the biggest offenders right now because they're basically like a second healer. And they just make the game go really long, and it's just really not fun for anyone else in that arena.
Yeah, I saw a prot paladin and I saw a prot warrior a few times actually, and that was interesting. But they lasted for a while and then they just would flop because I think they just ran out of defensives and everything. It was interesting. All right, guys. Well, I feel like we're kind of running out of steam here on what to talk about. Do we want to just do the one thing we change?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, well, I do have one more thing to talk about.
Oh, what do you want to talk about?
So it's kind of funny. I learned today that, well, I knew this a few weeks ago, but I didn't realize it until today. So Blizzard has once again changed what add-ons can and cannot do in the game.
Yes.
And now they've enabled add-ons to do buff and debuff tracking that previously couldn't be done outside of the cooldown manager. So what's really funny about that is now we've almost gone full circle. Like now add-ons can once again like whitelist and blacklist certain buffs and be very specific in what they track, which is just so funny to me. It's like, well, I keep on asking myself this, and I think everyone keeps on asking themselves this, like, what was the point of the whole add-on prune? If we've just kind of now circled back to what we started with, and even less than what we started with, because I still don't think it's possible to perfectly track enemy cooldowns. But now you can just like basically have weak auras again for your own buffs, which is ridiculous to me. So I don't know what's going on. I wonder what your guys' thoughts on that. Like, have we just now gone full circle? And what was the point? I mean, I was asking myself that months ago, and now even more. It's like, what? Why did we go through this?
No, I agree. I think it's a super fair question, which is that why are we doing this? Why are we in this position where we try to get rid of all these add-ons, and then actually now we're back in the same place, which is essentially that all these add-ons now exist again. So how do we bring ourselves back from this? How do we bring ourselves back from this front? Do we have to then fully get rid of all add-ons again? I just I don't know what the answer is, if I'm honest. I think it's kind of like a catch-22. Like, we kind of need Blizzard to fix their stuff first, like in game, get us the sort of UI positive in-game things like kick tracker, like a real decent I guess damage meter.
Damage meter, yeah.
Which is I think the most basic of all things. They could have just gone. If I was Blizzard, I would have been contacting the individual add-on guys and gone, "Hey, come sort this out for us. Come work for us. Come just adapt all of this in cohesion with our current team." You know, give them something back to the community. I just think that would have been insane. That would have probably been one of the best things they could have done, but they just didn't. They just haven't done it, and therefore it's pants. That's just the honest truth of it all, which is the sad part.
I find this interesting because I was under the impression with mini CC, I guess now mini auras, that we couldn't track aura information. So we couldn't track the friendly and enemy cooldowns. Can you only do it with the in-game cooldown manager then? And is it only your personal one, but not your party members?
No, you can. So you can track, for instance, like external buffs on yourself. I mean, I don't know. This is way out of my knowledge. Like, I don't know exactly what works, what doesn't work, and how it works. Like, it's all kind of a mess to me anyway. Yeah. But yeah, the point is, it's just like, well, we've kind of again gone full circle, and it's a bit strange.
Oh, I think if we want to talk about full circle, if it has come back to that, then I mean the whole reason why they did it was to basically crush weak auras. They wanted weak auras gone because weak auras was so powerful. And you could basically have have it map stuff out for you, right? Like, I think in the new raid, there's a thing where you have to find somebody that has like the positive and the negative or whatever, and when you get together, then you cancel each other out. And that's going to be hard to do. Anyway, it's something like that. You have an aura, the other person has an aura, and you have to match each other up, and then it cancels out the auras, and you can carry on. Weak auras an add-on would fix that in, that'd be a programmer in 20 seconds, and everyone would download the add-on, and it would completely trivialize. So that's the whole reason that they did it. The fact that they did that sweepingly and said, sorry, PvPers, too bad, and now we're left with the mess that we have. If it has come back to where we're able to see things, like, okay, fine. Like, fun experiment. Made season 1 kind of weird until add-on developers found their ways around it, and here we are. Okay, cool. If they've completely, like, what I understand is that you actually can't track any of your friends, so you don't know if people in your party have used a kick or used a CD for a defensive, and so there's going to be massive overlaps without that information. And I was hearing somewhere that a lot of people are now like putting pings into their macro, all of their abilities. So like if a healer is casting a spell, it's just going to ping what that spell is and who they're casting on all the time.
Yeah, they've upgraded the ping system this patch. There's a lot more things, I guess, you can ping. But I don't know too much about those details. But I know, like, for instance, you can ping your mana as a healer.
Yeah, you can. And as a DPS, you can ping your health. Right. Like, so I don't.
Certainly that will not be abused. Like that will. People are going to be very polite, you know.
Yeah, of course they are. Absolutely
only
polite.
ping at the right times.
Right. So I can only imagine what arena is going to look like if what I understand is correct and that we actually can't track anything, and the only way we're going to be able to see abilities going off is through the ping system. Like, what is the arena? What is? Can you imagine what a blitz is going to look like?
Yeah,
like 8 people pinging their health and their abilities all going off at the same time.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be crazy.
Oh my gosh. It's gonna. So yes, I hope they're playing it and kind of figuring out and find something, because I do hope it does circle around. I hope you're right, Big, is that we've circled around and gone back to where things are whitelisted, things are blacklisted, and we can see things, we can see auras, we can see the information that we need to see to make good decision making. And then, because otherwise, the difference between, like, I can have the information on the screen and not look at it and make a bad decision, and you could not have the information on your screen and make what is the best decision you can, and you're a really good player, but there's going to be no differential between the two of us other than just blind luck, if that's the case. So I speak to that personally because I tunnel so often. I'm like, oh yeah, why am I blowing my burst into somebody that's on? They completely defended. They're full defensives. Like, I'm just blowing my burst for nothing. So, all right, things you would change, Big. What's something you're going to change then?
I was not prepared for this question. Oh, I will tell you exactly what I had changed, and I made a Reddit post about this. It's absolute baloney sandwich that there are so few housing decor items from PvP. Like, there should be way more cool things that us PvPers can put in our house or outside of our house to say that we're PvPers. Like, Mathene had a really good idea, like training dummies. There should be a PvP training dummy we could buy for our houses. Cool. Something like that. So I want some more PvP decor for us hard-working players.
Do you want them tied to ridiculous achievements?
Yes, and yeah. Jarazar, do you know who you're talking to? I'm a fan of prestige.
Yes.
And so, yeah, that's why I asked. Of course I do. Right. But we should give some things to the cozy casuals too. Okay. But some prestige.
All right. I will say returning nine flags in a map is a little ridiculous.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
All right. Jake, how about you? What's one thing you would change?
Oh God. I think, to be honest with you, the one thing I would change, I think as always, is, as I kind of mentioned earlier, I would have, if I was Blizzard and I had the money and the time and ability to do so, I would just be making those add-on users part of the team. They would be working on getting everything up to scratch in a similar vein, that where there was control over what we could use, like, reduce the power of the weak aura type add-ons, but then put so much more into what can be used in game that people have gotten used to. So that's been my focus.
Nice.
And what I would change, obviously.
All right. I like it. I think what I would change is the actually I know, is update the solo shuffle map pool.
Oh yeah.
That's
also
it.
With that, Mugumbala is such a toxic map.
It's awesome.
No, okay, if you're a warlock, it's like your favorite map, but anyone like warlocks can make everyone's life on that map miserable, and that's why I don't like it. But wait, I'm a warlock main now, so keep it in the game. Actually, I retract my opinion based on my current biases. So yes, keep it. Never mind. Forget what I said. And Blade's Edge is coming back too. So yes, I'm very happy as a warlock main.
There you go. Gosh, you're so self-serving. You're supposed to be for the people, Big. It's not about you.
I'm for the people who happen to also play warlocks. You know, that's what I'm for.
I love it. I love it. I actually don't mind Mukambala. I don't mind it. I find
Oh, me neither. Me neither.
You know, I find too often though everybody just plays on the main level, and we just run around that big pillar. I find very rarely do people actually use the Z axis very well. Of course, I'm also like 1800 lower, so maybe that's why. Anyway, all right, shoutouts. Back to you, Big. Shoutout time.
I'm gonna give a shout out to the creator of Mini Auras, previously known as Mini CC. I don't remember his name. I think it's Verse or something. No, is it Verse? I don't know. Anyway, shout out to that guy because I think that add-on has just basically taken everything that we used to know and love and put it in one convenient package, and it's a great add-on. So yeah, and he's always doing updates. So shout out to him.
Nice. Jake.
God. Shout out to the Blizzard devs for having to deal with all of us and everything that's going on. I think there's going to be probably a trying period to be working in that profession. And as we like to do, we like to forget that they're also human. So shout out to them.
All right. Cool. I think. Oh, yeah. Actually, I'm not going to comment on that one. I'm going to give a shout out to. I'm going to say this probably wrong, but She Xanter, who created a post over on the forums as the response to Ian Hazukosis' Q&A, and the whole. That we basically did a whole last episode about, but he wrote up a 6-page little expose, if you will, quite the thesis paper. And this is the same person who I think they did like a 10-page thesis paper before on how to improve PvP and whatnot. So I'm going to do a shout out to them, and actually I'm going to cheat. I'm going to do another shout out to Sunny, who has been trying very hard to have his voice heard and try to get the currency for PvP changed so that we can actually, trade it and not have the tax, and maybe get rid of RNG boxes and not have bloody tokens warbound.
You know what?
Not warbound.
That is such baloney that I didn't realize that other currencies don't have that penalty. Like, what the heck? You're like, why does that penalty exist? Does any other currency have a penalty besides honor?
Not that I'm aware of.
That's crazy. Because I was doing time walking recently and I was sending over my badges and I was like, I'm going to lose a few sending these to alts. But I was like, wait a second. I don't lose anything.
Yeah.
But I lose 20% when I transfer honor?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
No taxation without representation, as we say in America.
Well, apparently that's correct then, because we don't have the representation, so we're getting taxed.
Oh my gosh. It's a mess.
Bazinga. No, it's I think it is a very valid. I think it would definitely be a great quality of life thing if they got rid of the tax on honor. If we could actually trade Conquest, not make it through RNG boxes. I mean, it's mid-season when they take the cap off, the boxes show up anyways, right? So what does it matter? I don't know. Things like that. All right, Big. Let's close this out. Tell people where to find us, and then we'll let everybody get back to their video gaming.
Yes. So you can contact us directly on X at technically_PvP, or on Blue Sky at technicallypvp.bluesky.social, or even by an email of all things to technicallypvp@gmail.com. You can also join our discussions on our Discord.
And we are now hosted on Libsyn. A link to that will be in the website will be in the show notes. Don't forget that the Bonus Roll website has a podcast directory with us and many other great shows at www.bonusroll.gg. This directory also has a review system, so head on over there and tell everyone what you think of your favorite shows, including our own.
Indeed. Just as a last reminder, head on over to our Discord to enter the giveaway for the mount that we're giving away. And you have until the 18th. So get over there and click the buttons, do the things, and join the conversations. Links for finding us will be in the show notes. I want to thank everyone for listening, and we'll chat with you next time. Good night, everybody.